Good morning, everyone, and welcome to City Life. My name is Marty Lorrey, and I'm hosting the show today, along with Francisco Maldonado, retired Lowell police officer, Bob Hoey, retired guy
Prison
down
guard,
in Concord, yeah. And, of course, John McDonough. And welcome to the show.
Tommy Bomil is under the weather,
Oh.
so he'll be here next week.
Tommy's out.
Tommy, get better. We need you back here.
I just asked Marty to host the show, and he said City Life. It's the Dawn Patrol from
Oh,
6
the
to
Dawn
7.
Patrol.
That's okay. That's okay.
Oh, boy. Oh, yeah, that's the early morning on Facebook.
Yeah,
But it's 7 o'clock. What is it?
City Life.
City Life, okay.
How about what's going on countrywide there in California, how they're trying to hit the billionaires for more money?
Oh,
They
awesome.
already hit them up like Massachusetts has, the millionaires tax. They're going after billionaires for to pay for their problems that they've caused. I mean, they're crazy in that state.
They want to sue the federal government. Well, they had a lawsuit, from what I understand. The government cut out the money for the railroad to nowhere. I don't know how many billions of dollars they've already spent. I don't know if they've put a track down. And you look at what's going on in Minnesota. Maine had whistleblowers. Massachusetts has refused to give information so far, but the money's coming from the government. I would think Massachusetts might be in line like Minnesota, New York, California. This is going to be a huge, huge investigation across the country. But we'll see where it all goes. It's a new year next year.
Now, it'll be a Republican investigation against the Democrats. That's what it's going to be.
That's what it always is.
I don't think Texas is going to get the same kind of scathing with their welfare fraud that Massachusetts is going to get.
You know, in Massachusetts, when they came out with this millionaire's tax, a lot of people were for it. And I was doing the radio. I said, listen, pretty soon they're going to find a way to get into your pocketbook. They're going to start, well, your house is worth $500,000, plus you have a 401. I don't know how many people in this country now have 401s, close to $1 million. They've been around for, 30 years, 40 years?
Yeah.
And people I know, they've never touched it. They're over $1 million. So they're going to start hitting these people as millionaires. And this state, it's going to be really bad. But we'll see where it all goes. I don't think Maura Healey's going to run next time. I think she's going to back out between what's going on in Minnesota and some of the political infighting here in the state.
Maybe she'll flee to New Hampshire like everybody else.
She might. I think, I really do. The more I see her on TV, and I don't think she has anything to do with it. I know she doesn't. She's an upstanding person, a great individual. But I think that these programs over the years have become pretty easy for people to use and squander the money. But we'll see. We'll see where it all goes.
Well, the thing I get a kick out of, for generations, it's okay to have company in your Section 8 house.
Right.
And it brings to light the guy that stands on the Lord Overpass with a sign. I'm sure Cisco knows the guy. And he is the trustee of a irrevocable trust in Wilmington that owns a duplex. Now, downstairs, he stays with his girlfriend 364 days out of the year with their 2 kids. And upstairs, his girlfriend's mother lives with her boyfriend and 1 kid. Section 8 sends a check for both of those women every month. That pays their mortgage and gives them a little extra spending money. Welcome to America.
God bless America.
And God bless Massachusetts.
He's up on. He won't be up there today. It's too windy, I think. But most days he's up there.
But getting back to that in California, Marty, it's not millionaires tax. They're going after the billionaires that have actually helped this country, I believe, creating jobs and all this stuff. They're moving out. They're going to move their businesses out of California.
You saw a lot of people moving out of Massachusetts. We were down, I forget how many people, and they're moving to Florida, Texas, states with no taxes.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. When they came up with the millionaire's tax, I guess a lot of yachts down on the Cape suddenly moved down to Rhode Island, who doesn't have it. Well, they moved
Including
up to New
JF,
Hampshire.
including
John
John Kerry.
Kerry.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to bring in the
a
name up,
great
but
senator. It's senator, right? Still
John-
in politics.
John Kerry was the one that they
Caught.
rarely made a highlight out of. But this is what's going on across the country. And they think Garrett Newsom is the guy that's going to run for the Democratic nomination. Now, he might. We'll see what they find out there. But to my knowledge, the Democratic Party's broke.
Oh, no, I agree.
They're broke.
Democrats have to.
The money. There's no money.
Yeah, money. Yeah.
And
Well, they paid all their friends in Hollywood and in the entertainment business to come out and try to win that last election, you know?
well, it's going to be interesting because the midterms are coming up this November. And one of the things, it's in the Supreme Court now, is if you can still have districting by race. Now, Boston, they from what I understand, they did the new districts for the city council by race, and a federal judge threw it out and said, you can't do that, which surprised me because that's what they did in Lowell. And, but now,
Explain to me what you mean by race.
Divided district up like.
No, it's Marty's word.
Oh,
so-
okay.
yeah, no, it is, what they do is if there's
Now, who's the they?
the courts determine that there's a large population of minority groups, they can district by that. Like Lowell has 2 minority-majority districts, okay? Now,
And can you
Boston,
name what the majority is?
in Lowell?
Yeah.
I don't think they break it down. It's sad because in Lowell, they had 2 minority-majority districts they set up, but my opinion, they favored the Cambodian, the Asian population. The Spanish got nothing out of it.
They never
Well,
do.
they don't vote, you know?
They don't.
And
That's why.
I try to engage that community and ask them to get involved.
Marty, you want to read this one?
When people put people in management positions with no management experience, you end up with a mismanaged state. Yeah, you know, it comes down in Massachusetts. They're going to be holding these caucuses around the state, and you run as a delegate. Now, that's how, in my opinion, the progressives took over the Democratic Party. They'll flood these caucuses, and they'll send everyone to the majority down to the convention. And if you want to run for governor, attorney general, you got to get 15% to get on the ballot. And that was, if Diane DeZoglio wants to run, that's going to be her biggest problem because they're not going to give her the 15%, in my opinion, the delegates. So that's what it comes down to. It's like in the law. What's the qualifications for a city manager? It used to be 5 votes. Now it's 6.
It's a popularity contest.
Yeah, it's 6 votes.
Pretty sad.
Yeah, that's the only qualification for a city manager. in
Speaking of which,
Lowell.
don't they get sworn in today?
Not today, no. The inauguration, when is that? Do we have a party for
Isn't
that?
that the 15th,
Is it?
8th or 15th?
First Monday of the year,
Is it?
so probably be around January 5th.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
So no
the fir-
meeting this week?
Yeah, no meeting.
Okay.
They skipped last week. They were supposed to have a meeting last week.
No,
No?
not that I know.
I
of.
thought they-
No, they took the last 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
That's, people complain when they don't meet, but I think it was Mike Lindsay, who was a great city councilor, put in a motion to meet every 2 weeks. That way you would only handle important business,
Yeah.
which is what New Hampshire does. They don't meet too often up there, the State House. And I think they did that while he was there, Alan Kazanjian, Bud Rita. They've met every 2 weeks because it takes a lot of these other motions off the table. You have to do really work that's important to the city. And I don't think you'll see that. The other thing that's going to be interesting with this term, guys, a couple of years ago, there was a ballot question in the city, how do we select a mayor?
Yeah.
And I think they should put maybe a subcommittee or some type of committee together. Now, I think Eric Gitchier and Corey Robinson put in a motion to do just that last term. But I'd like the city to look into that, because right now, no one has 6 votes. And it's going to split the council on day one. It appears that there's going to be a fight for the mayor's race. And I don't think anyone has 6 votes right now. So,
I knew there was a surprise coming.
That's what you were saying.
Eric Getchia called in and talked to me a couple of times over it. He says, you might be surprised what's going to happen. And I still think Danny will get it, Danny Rourke. I really do.
Rita Mercier has a good first round chance.
I do. That's who I.
Rita Mercier has a good first round chance.
Oh, that's good to know. I mean, it's,
Last year when I did my predictions, one inside Lowell, I predicted the 2 races, one in Belvedere and one in the Acre. But I said Rita would be the next mayor. And I think she's got a great chance.
First round, yeah. Cisco, you
think
want
so?
to read these two? Yes, I do.
the Democrat Party in Hollywood lied to the American people about President Biden. Maybe that's why the Democrats are in trouble. Jay. Democrats are broken because of the cracked away $2 billion on candidate that got less than 1% of the vote in the primary.
You know, last year during the presidential election, remember they were renting auditoriums and they were bringing in these big acts?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't think they paid the actors, and I don't think they paid a lot of the stadium staff, because they don't have any money.
And the talent.
And the talent.
The lighting people, the setup people, the
Everyone.
bus people.
Oh, no,
The
little
stadium
guys,
staff.
The little guys did not get paid, but the names that came in, the so-called people who care for the poor out there, the top names.
Well, these
They all
municipalities.
got their checks and their free rides there and stuff, but they didn't pay the little guys.
These little state agencies, cities, towns, they sued Trump's pants off because he didn't pay for security at Durton rallies, and he paid up.
Yeah.
Haven't heard a squeak about the Democrats not paying their bills.
No.
Yeah,
Well,
and you won't.
You know what I hear a lot in the media, how they're going after unenrolled voters. They're trying to turn them back to the Democratic Party.
No.
They haven't lost me. I'm still with Trump. And now that he's going after Iran again, I'm definitely for him. That country's got to go. They
Iran-
want to kill Americans.
Yeah.
That's all I know. They want to kill Americans.
What do you believe about the Democrat Socialist Party that they're working very hard to get throughout the country?
That's going good, isn't it?
Bernie's doing a great job with his alliance and they're looking at placing people in local politics, and they're looking down the road. They're looking, they're going to get it done. If nobody sees what's happening throughout the country right now, they're out there. They're looking for young kids, and they're trying to get people that buy into their philosophy, and they're going to put them in positions of power and work them to the system, and eventually that might come to tuition.
I think they're having a lot of success nationwide, because the Democratic Socialists are talking about issues. As John said, well, the Republican Congress will investigate the Democrats, and if the Democrats win the House, it's going to be all investigations again. It's disgusting. But the AOCs, the Bernie Sanders, the kid down in New York, Mandami, they're talking about issues. They're talking about rent. They're talking about the economy, jobs, affordability, and they're the ones talking about issues. Now, do I agree with their answers to these issues? Not at all. But at least they're bringing the issues, and I think that's why they're doing well.
Yeah, I agree there.
I like when they talk about seniors, no more taxes on seniors. Once you hit a certain age, you don't pay anything anymore. I like that kind of thing.
Well, I agree with that. If
Yeah.
you're a good American citizen in this country, and you can prove that you worked very hard and you pay taxes for 30-plus years, you should get taken care of. Think of it. This country wasn't built on nothing. People have to work, And if you're a worker, you should be, rewarded. If you're not, then guess what? You get what you work for.
Well, it's to me, a lot of it's the spin, and it's the special interest groups. Now, they were arguing about health care down in Washington, And, the Affordability Act, Obamacare. No, really, when you started looking into it, you had Obamacare for years. And when COVID came, they increased the payments. That's what the Democrats are fighting for, is to keep the COVID area payments. And who's making money on that? The insurance companies. And but does the media come out and break that down for you? Absolutely no. And I thought those payments ended after COVID, but obviously they didn't. And you look at the Democrats wanting to keep this money going forward, and then you look at Minnesota, what they're doing with the money there, these programs, it's not good. It's not good at all.
I'll tell you one thing that's good. Medical insurance that we have, people like myself,
Right.
with a state retirement, Cisco, we all have great benefits. Some people don't get treated right. There's no doubt about it. There's something that has to be fixed, because like my situation, I'm insured, great insurance, and when they see the end of my physical therapy coming up, for instance, they'll say, "Oh, why don't we add another 8 weeks to you?"
Right.
It's all about the dollar. You know that.
There's a mailman, I could tell you, over the years you'd see, and that was a big one, was the doctors send you for rehabilitation, and there's a lot of good groups around the city who do just that. But I'd see these little shops open up, and 6 months later, 8 months later, they're gone, and you started questioning, are they just billing the insurance companies or what? Because very seldom did I see people in there. And like everyone else, I'd go to the doctor, "Oh, you got to go here for physical therapy." And there are some great places in the area that do great work.
Yep.
Some of these other places, you'd see them there for a couple of months and bingo, they disappear. So,
Yeah,
I don't know.
One of the, maybe the top 3 in the country is where I was for my rehab in Boston, Spalding.
Oh, yeah.
It's called Spalding. It's like being in jail, though. They're coming in and getting you 3-4 times a day for PT, OT. I hated OT. That was like teaching you how to do a food order. I do that all the time. I don't need to learn how to go grocery shopping. But the physical therapy is amazing. It's just amazing how they can bring you back really quick, too, But
We were down there, there was a bunch of us. I had a van and like 5 or 6 mailmen when we went down to visit a guy who had retired, a letter carrier. And we're walking out. Of course, you're a mailman, you're used to just looking around as you come. And we're getting the van, and hey, check this out, and all the drug deals down on the side street, and we're watching. I said I won't move the van until everyone leaves, But it's funny, we were down there, and every one of the cars just observing it, and we'll just wait this out for a few minutes, let them scatter and go, and off we'll go. But Spalding is a great hospital.
yeah, it's really good. It's not easy, but it's a good place, yeah.
You think the workforce being that we have a lot of younger people that don't look for insurance? Like we grew up where, we had the young support the elders by working and paying, for example, Blue Cross Blue Shield, the most expensive insurance. I paid into that fund for 25 years. I never used it. And then all of a sudden, as I got older, they took that away. Is it because of numbers? Is that pyramid that was built like Social Security on, thinking that one family would put out 10 kids, and then out of that 10, you probably get 5 that would contribute, and that, I think that's flipped over. I think that, population has changed where you don't have enough people at the bottom supporting, the pyramid. And it's scary. You got these young kids, they don't even think of into the future. They spend every nickel they get. Obviously, the cost of living is really expensive, but there's nothing left over for them to put aside. And they really believe that they're going to be able to do whatever you're doing now at 25, 50 years from now, which is impossible. And then you have a bunch of older generated people that can't afford to retire, and those jobs are locked up. It's going to be interesting what happens in the next 10, 20 years, I think, in this country.
People are living longer now, too. I remember as a kid growing up, Bobby, down in this neighborhood, you went to a wake, someone was in their mid-60s, late 60s. Oh, they were old. Now, 80 years old, they're putting new knees and shoulders in you and everything else, And so the system itself, I think, will be stressed by the number of people collecting. And it's great, like you say, you retire, you get older, but people are living longer now than ever. And
Yeah, I'd like to see the numbers on young adults, because all I witness is these kids are getting jobs, they're looking for money, they're hungry for money, and I'm only going off my grandchildren and my grandchildren's friends. I'd like to see the stats on that, how bad it is. I know it's bad, there's no doubt about it. Just our high school alone's probably losing 1,000 kids a day. They're going to end up in jail, most likely. There's not much for them. More vocational training, you know that, Marty, anyways. I mean, that's an old story, but you're right, Cisco, there's the younger generation has something going on, but I think there's a lot more sharper kids than we want to give credit to.
Oh, no, there's a lot of them becoming millionaires at 16, but, it's not everyone, you know what I mean?
No, you're right.
Not everyone. But then $1 million isn't a lot of money.
No.
Can you imagine? We grew up thinking, I'm going to be a millionaire one day. Well, most people are millionaires. Like you mentioned, the millionaire in tax here. If they look at the assets that we, obtained in the last, 30 years, everyone fits into that $1 million category. And, who else has money put aside? They're definitely going to come after the people who worked hard and put money aside, and they're going to get their share.
Look at Lowell. When we were young, Bobby and I went to high school within a couple of years of each other. A lot of kids didn't want to be in school. They could quit at 16, go to the mills, get a job. They could always come back at their GED, go to night school. There was a great safety net in the city. Kids grew, during high school, everyone had jobs. I worked at S&H Green Stamps or drugstores. There were a lot of jobs.
Blow Shoe, Cavo Shoe, Joan Fabrics, Vertipile, Commodore. I could go on and on and on. Yeah.
There were kids in high school I knew, the family needed the money. They'd get out of school at 2:30 and they could work from 4 to 10. And they'd get, 30 hours a week. But outside of Market Basket now, who hires a lot of kids. If it wasn't for Market Basket, where else are the kids going to work? The stores are all closed. There's no more retail.
That is definitely, in my opinion, I go there at least 3 times a week. It's unbelievable. Stadium Plaza, by the way. And the staff, I stop almost every time I'm done and go over to the boss that's there. Tell them, register 9. Unbelievable kids.
Yeah.
Unbelievable who they hire. The stocking, the shelves.
Yeah.
I know,
and they give them money for college.
I just know this one kid, he's stocking shelves at Market Basket, Stadium Plaza. I won't give his name out, but he's graduating from BU in business.
Yeah.
BU, are you kidding me? Working at Market Basket.
Bobby, you want to read these?
Yeah. How many of the politicians have the same health care as the general public? I don't know about that. They don't have what I have, I can tell you that. Second one, we're bombing Iran for Bibi's pleasure.
Satan Yahoo.
Satan Yahoo is the most hated leader in the world, and he lost the PR war. Well, right now they're in discussions about going into Iran, probably, or bombing them again, so.
Well, you can say that, Bobby, but I think it's a Holocaust.
That's, well,
1,200 Jews get killed in that beach raid. 170,000 Palestinians died.
Yeah.
Where's the math?
No, it is what...
It's extinction.
Nobody's talking about it.
It's extinction.
Yes.
yeah, but
The Holocaust. They don't love the word Holocaust. It's a Holocaust. Yeah, it's a Holocaust on the Palestinians.
Yes.
What did Israel lose in World War II? 4 million? 5 million? I don't know. You have that answer here? I'm just saying, Jews were killed in World War II, 4 or 5 million, I'm just guessing.
Probably.
Most
Yeah.
of them were Polish and
And-
German.
And then Iran goes around saying kill Jews and kill Americans. I mean, that's why I'm for Trump. And if they want to win in the midterms, I know what Trump's going to do. Guarantee he's going to send us a check for a couple of grand. You know what I mean? He's got, the economy's booming, stock market's booming, but what are they trying to feed us? The world is gone. Oh, we're in trouble here. What's
Well,
that
he says you're
word?
getting, he says everyone's getting, what, 1,000 or 2?
Yeah, they're talking about something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Once the taxes come in, and I don't think we see it this year, correct? We see it in 26. The big beautiful bill where seniors aren't supposed to get taxed on Social Security. No overtime. My friends that are making a lot of money on overtime.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, they're really happy there.
Mailman, cops, that's where you make your money.
Oh,
is on the
they're going to
overtime.
kill it.
Well, they don't have much overtime. They use most of that money to pay for the top positions that they filled in the recent years. I mean, honestly, the economy for us has been great. Think of all the money that people have made in the last 30 years, But I really worry because that generational wealth that is accumulated, these young kids are sitting on it, and they're going to go through it real fast.
Oh.
And where is that going to reset the country? You're going to have a bunch of people back at the bottom struggling.
It's interesting. I hear the kids today, and it's true. Houses are 600,000, 500,000. They don't have money. But then again, I look back. When I grew up, our parents didn't have a $130 cable bill every month, a $130 phone bill every month. The kids have to cut back a little bit too.
Car for every
$400
kid.
water bill.
Car for every kid.
Car for every kid. We didn't have that. Bobby, did you have a car? No. We had bicycles, and that was about it. But the kids live high today, and they see their parents living high. We were at the house last night. My brother-in-law was over. I have YouTube TV, and he went to his friend's house to watch the football game. They couldn't get it. They have Verizon Fios, and they don't get the TV station, Channel 5. They're in negotiations with 5.
Actually, it was on Fox. That was the big deal. They're not carrying Fox.
Oh,
Verizon's not
yeah.
carrying Fox.
Yeah, we didn't get to watch the game last night. We tried very hard to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
Well, what do you got for? Well, Marty, you got the YouTube. Could you watch the game on YouTube?
I have Tubi TV. I didn't try. Usually,
Oh, you don't have YouTube then. You have Tubi.
Tubi. No, I have YouTube TV. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
I don't know. My wife pays the bill. She orders all this stuff.
So
I
you
don't
got-
watch it.
You got YouTube TV, and you couldn't. Did you watch the Patriots game or no?
Oh yeah, but I get Channel 4 and 5, so I
Now,
can
do you
watch
get
it.
that?
Yeah.
My question's going to continue. You get 4 and 5 through YouTube?
Yeah, whatever the stations we get all the local stations, 4, 5, 7.
And you get
And-
it through, not Comcast, you get it through YouTube.
Yep, well, whoever, she buys it from, yeah.
Okay. So,
We lost Channel 7 for a while. What happened was the agreement ran out between Channel 7 in Boston and the agency I have, so we didn't get it for a while, and then bingo, it popped up again.
so Cisco, how did you what game you say?
We're talking about Monday night's game. We got to watch the Pats game on Fox. We had Fox, but that's because I get
Now, how do you get Fox? Through
I get
Comcast?
direct television antenna on the roof. I did that.
Oh, you get satellite TV?
No, an antenna. We're real close to all the
So you get
signals.
over the ear.
Yes, over the air.
Wow, that's
Digital.
good.
I
You're the
went
only guy I
digital.
know that does that. That's good. I'm
just
trying to
the
talk our condo association.
That was
to do it at the
15
beach.
years ago. We're so close to the antennas, which are in Needham, right? Most of them are there, and the signal's real strong. You pick up the picture's beautiful. I'd be happy with just that alone, but we still have online services. We got Disney, Hulu, Netflix. Netflix, I'm hooked on that. And then I'm going back to pulling out the videos that that we've bought over the last 30 years and start watching those. If I have to, I'll cut back on all that stuff and do 2 years of watching
Right.
videos, you know what I mean? But that's sacrifices that, we're willing to make. We don't, TV's
So,
not
Bobby,
that
how do you
important
get your
to us.
TV?
My wife pays all the bills, but I think it's Comcast. I get everything. I've even recently told Michelle, I said, cut down, get one of the cheapest bills. I don't need this. I don't need it.
I would highly recommend a digital antenna. If you have access to the roof, you put it directed towards where the signal's coming from, and it works very good. I get all the local channels.
I do too.
Yeah.
I get Verizon phones. I know we're getting the Cadillacs of everything, but it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
Talk about money to I just got my new water bill.
Oh.
Boy. It's like, but again, look at the economy. The people that made the most money in this last 30 years is the government.
Yeah.
If the cost of living goes up, it's easy. You get 1% of a dollar, it's a penny. But 1% of $3 gasoline, it's 3 pennies. And then you multiply that by the population, you're talking billions of dollars.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing when you negotiate contracts. 4% each year for a teacher is a nice raise. But 4% for a cook or a paraprofessional, over the years, it wasn't that great of a raise.
How much of a raise do you think they got at McDonald's and got at
Not
Burger
much.
King, or they got at
Not-
Walmart,
Not much.
Target, zippity-doo-dah?
Yeah.
It's okay, the government gets raises, but the commoners don't?
No, you're right.
You're
But this is what unions, listen, my love for unions. Jeff Thomas, 429. 429 was my union when we got our pension, 25.75 for Stadies. Marty and Cisco would understand that, 25 years of service. You get 75% of your pension, state police. Wow, imagine that. Prison guards get 20 years you could do, and you get 50%. But your insurance, that's the big
That's
key.
the big one.
It's the big key. Anytime I see a younger kid, I say, listen, just at least do 20 like I did and get a pension with insurance. And right now they're hiring like mad in the Department of Corrections. Go get a job. It's easy. It really is. The top 10 people I worked with in the prison system, at least 2, maybe 3 were females of the best of the best.
It goes back to what I said earlier. We got to get our young folks back to work, okay? We need more young people getting paid good money, good salaries, and that should sustain the population that's not working as much when it comes to health benefits. If you have everyone getting free benefits, think of it. You got kids till 28 years old now that could collect health benefits from their parents. You gotta build a better, strong base if you're gonna have good health insurance for your elder and the population that can't afford to pay for it.
I have the federal health insurance, and I buy the Blue Cross Blue Shield. All the unions have their own. They have different insurances, but because of my wife's condition and with prescriptions, I stay with Blue Cross. Now, the federal government told the postal employees they couldn't be part of the federal insurance anymore, so they have the postal health insurance, federal health insurance, and it's the same, basically. But when I went to Blue Cross Blue Shield, then I went to Medicare, I have to pay the same premiums to Blue Cross Blue Shield as I was paying prior, plus I got to pay $300 say $100 a month, $100 and a quarter a month to Medicare. So my bill actually went up between the two, paying for Medicare and the Blue Cross Blue Shield. But there's really not much, with my wife's condition, with the prescriptions. But with Medicare, everyone's complaining. They forced us, Blue Cross forced us to take Medicare D, and we have to pay for the prescriptions to a certain degree. Well, she gets so many by April or May. It's all for free,
That's how
and
it is, yeah.
And then we'll come in January. It's not the best system, but you don't go broke. You always have something. And like you say, Bobby, I feel fortunate, regardless what I have to pay, that I have the insurance.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt, to be insured is a great thing.
But you,
Because they don't second guess anything. Oh, just give it to him. He needs it. So you're going to get what you need.
right,
To me, there's no doubt about it. I just witnessed it. I lived it. The greatest, how do I want to put it? The greatest health system in the world. I was down there in Boston. Tufts. It was unbelievable how they treated me. Thank you. That's all you can say. But
No.
my medications, like you talked about,
right.
I haven't paid for a medication in about a half a year, and I think that's because there's a certain limit that you
Right.
pay on, and then they just shut it down.
Right.
So I know the month of January, probably going to start paying for my medications. That's
My
all.
biggest concern with Medicare was going to Medicare D. My wife's prescriptions, would they cover them? Blue Cross, one of the reasons why we always kept Blue Cross was with the Parkinson's, she has some expensive prescriptions. Well, Blue Cross covered it. And then when we were being forced into the postal federal health insurance, into Medicare Part D, I said, oh boy. But they cover everything. They haven't dropped one.
I'm
And-
pretty sure, Marty, right? Like my insurance, I pay about, I don't know, maybe $300 or $400 out of my money, my pension,
Right.
a month. And the state's paying like $1,500 a month. That's how expensive. It might be more by now.
Right.
They're paying for my policies.
One thing I
That's
think
incredible.
I was happy what Congress did in the government. We had our pensions, but because they were federal or state, you couldn't collect 100% of Social Security. You
Right.
had a drop. Well, last year they changed that. Now, when I did legislative work back in the early 2000s, every year Barney Frank and Senator Collins, a Republican from Maine, would put the bill in, and it would die. It would die every year. And then they put it in last year, and it passed.
Marty, you want to read these four?
Sure. The parenting style has definitely changed. This country still has a spending problem. Every commercial on TV is full of gluttony and greed. That's from Jay. Costs are going up because we had an increase in the population created by a party who lied to the American people about the border that was secure. Young people are spoiled and feel entitled to things without putting in the time. Society has created a bunch of lazy kids who don't want to work. And unions have a history of bankrupting businesses. Now they're bankrupting the taxpayers.
Yeah, I agree, but all I can tell you is I love unions. 429 was my favorite union. Andy Rourke was the leader of our union under AFSCME. And boy, did they do wonders for prison guards and state troopers, maybe police.
Well, let me just put this into your pretty ears over
Yeah.
there, okay? If this state goes bankrupt,
Yeah.
your pension's gone, Bob.
Oh, yeah.
All the school teachers' pensions are gone. So bankruptcy is, we got to push back on the cost of government because your pension is gone.
I love the
Now,
way you pointed.
Now, just think, if your pension's gone, what's going to happen to you?
Yeah. Well, what's going to happen to me? I'd have to probably live off my mother-in-law or father-in-law, something like that.
No,
Move in with my granddaughter, move in with my daughter-in-law. I mean, I look at when people say kids are lazy, it bothers me because I know, I just watched what my oldest granddaughter has done. Worked real hard, Latin Lyceum, went to ULO, became an engineer, got a job with the DOT, bought a 3-family home in Manchester. She's 25 years old. So I can't look at her as lazy.
Yeah.
The next one's 19, he can't wait to make a buck. But I'm saying I want him in school. When you're done school, then you can go to work. I don't like the idea, really.
I don't know how many years ago that we had Stevie Panagiotakis retire. But he sat over at that table where you guys are, and he said the state can't afford itself anymore.
Yeah, he's
That's
right.
why I got to
Yeah.
walk away. The state they can't afford to pay their bills anymore. And what are we doing? Give them more.
They say they have a surplus
Let's
now.
give them all a company car.
The state says they have a big surplus. At one
And
conversation,
the
they're
border is
broke.
secure. The border's secure and there's no fraud.
When they
You
open the
believe 'em?
book when they open the books on Massachusetts, But you go down to the State House, and they'll tell you, the Speaker, that they have a surplus. And Maura Healey spent, what, $3 billion on the migrants. So I thought she was pulling it out of the surplus, but they claim they still have it. We'll see. We'll see. There's a reason why they won't let Diane DeZoglio audit them. And that's going to be an issue. But we'll see where it all goes.
That's going to get her elected.
I hope she runs for governor.
I think she should.
I think she should too.
I mean,
And but she won't get through the convention, so she's not going to get the 15%. They
Which
did
is
that
sad.
to who was the guy from BU that ran the head of BU? He went to the convention. He was running for governor.
I hate to say it, was that the guy with one arm?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he said,
I
"Oh,
can't
it's
think
John
of it.
Silver."
Yeah.
And they said they wouldn't give him the 15%. William Bolger stepped in and got him the 15%, got him on the ballot. And until his last interview, where he kind of got into it with Natalie Jacobson, he was actually leading. And he ended up losing. But, they get rid of Ed King, and this is what they do at the convention. And you can rest assured you're going to get nothing but progressives out of the Democratic convention running for office next year.
and that leads to what I believe they're going to retaliate. The voters will retaliate, and you'll end up giving a Republican a heads up on a race. Maybe not in Massachusetts, but you can see that happened with Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, people said, "Look, you didn't give us a choice of who we wanted to run for president. We're not going to vote. We're going to go vote for the other guy."
Yeah, it's going to be interesting as it just breaks down. I don't know who the Democrats really have in 3 years, but they're broke, and they don't know who they have. They don't. It's so sad. This country voted for Trump, whether you like him or not, because of immigration. But the Democrats are very good in the media of spinning, and now people, they look who they're sending home now. Obama sent what? 4 million people home? No one made a sign. No one had a protest. Biden sent people home. Not many, but Bush, Clinton, they all sent over millions of people home. Not a word. Absolutely not a word. This guy does it, and now it's a problem. There was a story in the paper last weekend, and it was in the editorial pages. These poor people from Venezuela who walked all the way up to the Mexican border, crossed the border to come in illegally, and they sent them home. They wouldn't let them in. For Christmas dinner, you know what they had? Lasagna. Christmas dinner, they were stuck with lasagna. And I'm reading this in the paper, and this is the tearjerker. I said, you got to be kidding me. Now, Venezuela doesn't have a good economy, and things aren't great down there, but you just don't allegedly walk over all these borders, and none of these other countries had a problem with them allegedly walking through and then coming to our border. But the media now is against immigration. And in 2020, after the riots, they were against the cops.
Yes,
Now they're against federal agents.
Yep.
Now
The media is afraid of the
they've
FCC and Donald Trump. That's what the media is afraid of. He's got the reins, he's got the FCC in his back pocket, and that's why the networks line up behind Trump's, because he has their license.
Look at BBC. They just ran that show, and he sued them. And he's fighting back, and he's smart. And they're going to get sued over that. And then they get caught during 60 Minutes, during the interviews with Kamala Harris, of doctoring the tape. And this is what's going on.
I'm with you. I think it's Cisco's turn.
How do we know there is a surplus? They're against the audit, we know that.
Yeah.
The state biggest employer to the young generation is pot shops.
Good points, thank you.
Well, the shops are paying taxes, so
Well, wait a second now. Did our taxes get lowered? These pot shops were supposed to be a halo. Oh, my
Yeah, but
God.
that stopped.
Yeah.
Now,
So
didn't
was
your
it gambling.
in
Your
gambling,
water
too.
bill just went up, Marty.
Yeah.
My real estate tax bill just went up. What happened to the pot money? Oh, we blew that on hiring more of Tommy's friends.
Yeah, no, top management is very up there in their salaries. Like Bobby said, sorry, Bobby. Bobby said 3% for the little guy, isn't a lot of money, but 3% on a $300,000 salary adds up real quick.
I remember talking to Eric Gitcher about the pot shops, and it was maybe last year that the city got $2 million, but that dried up. In the deal that they made with the pot shops, there was only so many years that they were going to get hit with the city taxes, and that's what happened. That's going
to be a ballot question next year to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Now, they get the signatures to put it on the ballot. There's going to be a bunch of ballot questions next year. But I was reading this week, getting rid of pot shops will probably be on the ballot. And but to John's point, they came out with gambling. The money will go back to the cities and towns. Then all of a sudden, the state, after with the caucus, kept it. Now they have tickets, they have Keno, it's just amazing how much money they put into gambling. And I think last year they cut the budget. You read the little thing at the bottom, if you have a gambling problem, I think they cut the budget for that, for people, for help. And now the pot shops, they were going to get sued in Haverhill. About a year ago, a pot shop opened, just like in Lowell. You got to have this, you got to pay this, you got to pay. They had all these extra costs that no one else has. And the owner was sitting there looking, what are we getting for these extra costs? And she put out word she was going to sue the city. And I don't know, I think the city might have backed down, but to John's point and your point, how much they pay the city, it's amazing. So,
yeah, it's a beautiful state we live in. You got to admit that. I love Massachusetts. I love Lowell. I know I'm paying through the nose to live in the state, but
backing up to
pretty lucky.
DiZoglio running for governor.
Yeah.
Buddy, put on your thinking cap. She runs as unenrolled. She's in for there's no preliminary.
No.
She can dump all over the candidates that are incoming from both parties.
Right.
And what do you think her chances of winning if
in
she's
today's
unenrolled?
world, with everyone becoming unenrolled, yeah, you'd have a good chance.
If I were Diana DiZoglio, that's what I would do.
The problem with running as an independent is money. If you run as a Republican or a Democrat, you get money, and you get endorsements. No one's going to endorse an independent. Now, this year, we're talking about the mayor's race. And next year, you're going to run for governor. All the constitutional offices are up, congressional seats. They all want the endorsement of a mayor. And don't kid yourself, a lot of it plays behind that. Everyone wants to be I'm a city councilor, I endorse a governor or a congressman. Well, it's in with about 50 other people. You're the mayor, it's front page. And your stock, look at Sakari Chow and that, and I said it on the radio at the time, Sakari will become mayor, and his stock will rise, and he was the one doing all the endorsements. Next year, it's the same.
Did you see Dan Cole getting endorsed recently by the ex-Boston mayor there, Marty?
Oh, yeah, that's his close friend.
Yeah, he endorsed him. I think it was, I'm not sure if it was District 3 or District 8 or where it was out of, but I seen it. I seen the endorsement.
Yeah, the rumor was, and I don't know if it's true, that Marty Walsh was calling somebody, and he was a big union guy. He was really good. And he was calling around trying to get endorsements for Dan Cole. The problem for Dan Cole is all these politicians he's running against have a voting record backing unions. Not only backing them, but putting in legislation for them. So that's going to be a problem for Dan Cole. He only lost by a couple of votes to Laurie Trahan.
Yeah, about 100, I think it was.
And Drake it on the recount. I don't think, you can have so many people there you're watching. I think he was short people in Drake it. I'm not sure. But, hey, we'll see where it all goes. But that was one of the rumors I heard. Marty Walsh was calling around, and union leaders are saying, wait a minute, these other candidates, they only vote for us. They're putting in legislation, so we'll see where it goes.
Well, you know what elections are like. It's a lot of fun. until you find out if you win or lose.
Oh,
But a lot of fun. I was ready to ask the boss over there today if I could throw my signs in his dumpster. Yeah, and
You're not going to say
no,
them?
I'm gonna.
You're retiring the
yeah.
signs?
You know what? We got Danielle McFadden. I can't wait to see what she
Yeah.
brings to the school committee. Big change. It's a big change. Because to me, and I've said it 100 times, we lost a micromanager and we picked up someone that I think will be open-minded.
Is she
That's
gonna
all.
Is she gonna fight for less kickback for the city?
All I know is a few things. She was criticized, right, for charter schools.
You're talking about Danielle McFadden.
Yeah,
right?
yes, I am.
Just so we get rid of the she.
Okay,
Thanks.
Danielle was criticized for supporting alternative schools, or basically schools of choice. That's a tough issue, because Cam Kay, a good friend of ours, he got burnt by it when he ran for the school committee. He was for giving vouchers out to private schools.
Marty, get ready.
Might be my turn.
No, it's the boss's turn.
Lay yours on the side, Marty, so he knows which one to put new batteries in. Lay that one on the side. Thanks.
All right, so Marty, you want to read these? There's 65 of them. There's 6.
Every generation believes it worked harder than the next generation. The generation is far from lazy. I get to see their desire to work every day at the school. If planning is not creating businesses, where do they work? Think about when we were young, no one wanted to work for the government. It didn't pay. Every person wanted to work at Raytheon, Courier, Wing, and Maycom. Today we want housing. We have zero businesses to support the income it takes to afford the housing, and the cost is on the taxpayers, most who work for the government. Maybe if we had an honest media coverage about the border, then we would know the truth about the border. And Republicans only hold 4 seats in the state Senate and only 25 in the House. I highly doubt they're gaining any seats in the near future. Amy is terrible as the head of the Mass GOP. To that point, I don't know if anyone's running. We do have a candidate running
Got 2 more, Marty.
Vanna Howard's seat,
Yeah.
but he's an independent. We all know that the government is lying to the people, so why believe them when it comes to the front runner city? Just a thought, Jay. Saturday's newspaper, there was an article, could mass voters roll back legal weed? Yeah, that's going to be on the ballot. So,
And I believe it will lose.
Well, but my question is, the money that they blow on hiring Tommy's friends, oh, we don't have the weed money. Oh, let's go after the taxpayers again. We can't fire anybody. They already blew that money. They, meaning the city government, already blew that money.
Is there anybody here that really believes they're not going to come after our houses?
Yeah, they are.
Property? What's the
Yeah.
only spot?
As soon as they started talking about this millionaire's tax, I started yapping. Everybody's a millionaire. They add up your house,
Yeah.
your 401k, your kid's penny bank. You're a millionaire.
I was on the radio saying that, and people were furious, that you're nuts. They're not going to go after us. They said they're not going after our house and their 401k, and not now. Wait till they're in.
Marty, I've been saying it for years. The government is here for its self-preservation.
Right.
It's not here for the common public. It's not here for the citizens. It's here for their
It's
self-preservation.
smoke and mirrors, John. It's like this. No one under 20 can get a life sentence now, but they got to go to the parole board, which means they don't get out. Over 50 people have gotten out for first and second degree murder under 20 and rape. The parole board's just letting them go. Now they have discussions at the State House. Anyone convicted of first degree murder, any age, after 25 years will be eligible for parole.
Well, Marty,
Well, their thing is, John, doesn't mean they're going to get paroled. I can guarantee you they're going to get paroled. They're going to go before the parole board with their advocates, and they're going to walk after 25 years.
don't forget the people on trial today don't have a free lawyer, so they just walk.
They walk.
And what happened to Channel 5? Why aren't you covering this? Channel 4, your local news station, Channel 6. Why aren't you covering this? Oh, they arrested the guy. They put but he walked out the frickin' door the first day he went to trial. What happened to the story about we're not paying for legal team for these people?
Well, when they knock on your door this year to run for public office, state senate or state reps, I support, tougher sentences on crime. Why don't you pay the attorneys? Right now, they're walking out of court. What are you doing about that? And see what their answer is. You're absolutely right, John.
I don't know about that. Well, I had a goon knock on my door the other day using George Anthes' term. I love that. For Vanna Howard, and gave me some paperwork. And he didn't have any. I say, I got a question for you. He says, I just was told to drop this off for you.
So
There you go.
Gave me a postcard.
I got a question for Marty. Looking at your politicians today, I believe that if you look at that background, most of them are in the real estate industry, where in the past, most of them were lawyers. And obviously, prisoners ended up getting more legal representation, and they got paid.
Right.
Is that an indication of who's in charge of those government decisions now? A different group with different interests? Because if you look at the fact that would you believe if we had the lawyer in charge that they would not be getting paid?
I'd like to see it across the board. I'd like to see lawyers, real estate, police officers, retired employees, college kids. I'd like to see them all serving to get a across-the-board discussion. I just think the advocacy groups in this state, people know people don't vote. We just had a city election, 8,000 people. So you're going to go down and vote for governor or state rep. They know only so many people are going to show up. And these advocacy groups go down there and they'll support them and they'll do some work. And so they favor them. And Bobby talks about union. I was basically a lobbyist for the National Association of Letter Carriers. And did I know I had that many mailmen behind me nationwide voting? Absolutely. So,
Bobby, I'm picking you to read these.
Yeah, how many people who spoke at the NEDCOC conference didn't have homes? All the speakers clearly made a nice government salary. State Elections Division announced that they had 78,301 signatures backing a petition called "An Act to Restore Sensibility to Marijuana Policies." Yeah, well, whatever. But I want to go back to lawyers and courts, just to give them a good plug, is public defenders. You're pretty lucky to live in this country, because if you do something wrong and you go to court, I seen some of Lowell's, and Lowell has some really good
Got 40 seconds.
public defenders. So I'll pass that back to you, Marty. Only got a few seconds left.
I agree, Bobby. They have rent like everyone else. We're talking about the high cost of real estate, salaries, insurance. Public defenders need more money, and they're not getting it from the state. We're all getting stiffed.
And we'll be back. Thanks.
Welcome to City Life. It's Tuesday, December 30th. We're getting ready to close 2025. I'm Marty Lorrey. I'm hosting the show today, and I'm with Francisco Maldonado, former Low police officer, retired, Bob Hoey, retired correctional officer, and John McDonough on the board over there, just flying the ship for us and keeping the train afloat.
And Tommy Bomil is not feeling tip-top today, so he'll be here next week.
Can I just start it off, Marty? If you're leaving your home, it's quite cold, a lot of ice around, be careful, and the wind is blowing really crazy. It's crazy.
I had my water bottles out this morning. I had water delivered, and I'm down 2. I found one in someone's bushes, and I'm out there with a flashlight at 5:30. I called John. I'll be late. And I'm out there with a flashlight. Finally, I find one. I get in my car and I see the police. I said, "Are you getting calls that there's someone walking around with a flashlight?" He said, "No." I said, "Okay, that was me. In case you get one."
The city was pretty quiet this morning,
It was.
traffic-wise. There was no one at the overpass asking for money this morning.
Well, they're lining up, that's the Thorndike Street in the background there. There's the American flag at half staff, I don't know why, at the Rogers School. But it's chilly. It's wicked cold out there, wicked cold.
Yeah.
So if you see a pedestrian, let them cross.
Yeah, it's good. I'm glad there's no school this week because the kids would be out there freezing at the bus stops,
Yeah.
you know? We were discussing, we had a lot of things we were discussing earlier, but I think one of the discussions that we ended up with is interesting, and it hasn't been resolved, and that's at the courts, the public defenders not getting paid. Now, this has been an issue for a few months now, and people are walking free. And the state has done absolutely nothing to pay for the public defenders who have rents, salaries, insurance. They have costs like everyone else. What's going to happen? Francisco, you're a retired police officer. How frustrating it is to arrest someone and see them walk because the state won't pay for their attorney.
It's very frustrating. In fact, the fact that it's a very small group of people who commit crimes. It's the same folks that are breaking into the cars. We know who they are, but we only have, let's face it, there's 5 police officers in the city at night. You can't cover 130,000 people on with 5 people and hit, those folks that are out there breaking into cars.
Well, no, wait a second. Wait a second.
When you do,
Backing the bus up.
yeah, go ahead, John.
There's only 5 cops on duty at 2 o'clock in the morning?
On the street, yeah. There's a few inside, but there's not that many at night.
So there's 5 riding around in cruisers.
Probably 5, some, especially during the holidays, they all have vacations and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Well, Drake does have probably 1 or 2 at night.
So all I can tell everybody, look at you hooligans, behave, okay? There's not enough cops, behave.
No, it's think of it. It's what's the the coverage. You know what I mean? It's a lot of streets to cover. I mean, and they're running around with their blue lights on. So now they can notice the blue lights, so they can sneak into a dark alley.
I don't notice any blue light. What do you mean blue lights?
Well, the cruises after sunset are supposedly running with blue lights to just appear like they're out there and there's more of them.
I haven't noticed.
Oh,
I got to get out more.
Yeah.
You know, that late night shift for the police in Lowell, if you go back 10, 20 years ago when we had 90 different bar rooms, the late night shift, that was the toughest shift there was to work. All your bars closed at 2. The majority of your shift on 3 to 11 went home, and you're stuck with 10 police officers to run the city of Lowell when you had 80 bars.
Oh, you called Chensford and Drake it in.
I'll tell you.
Tewksbury?
Yeah.
My dad owned a bar, and I'm telling you, I never seen more violence in my life in a bar room than I did at a prison.
Marty, have you noticed the blue lights on at nighttime?
No.
So you don't get out much either. So Bobby,
I'm
have
in
you
bed at 8 o'clock.
you seen these blue lights out?
No, I haven't been out after 8 o'clock myself.
We're home by dark. So.
Yeah, I go to bed at 9 or 10 nowadays.
So if the police cruiser lights are on, old timers go home.
Yes.
To Bobby's point, back in maybe 30 years ago,
Yeah.
no one lived downtown outside of Post Office Square, the two towers. You probably had under 50 people living downtown. I was the mailman. And on one side of Merrimack Street, you had Danny Duffy. And on the other side, what was it, Sheehan? Was it Bobby Sheehan? Anyway, two of the nicest cops you'd ever
Yeah.
want to meet. But Bobby's right. You had all these bars in downtown Lowell. And some nights, it could get nasty down there, and they would come in at midnight. At 1 o'clock, the bars would be closing. And the Lowell cops did a great job back in those days. They didn't have many of them. But
Thank
they
God
did
there was.
well.
Thank God there was cocaine around.
Let's
serious.
move on. I mean,
Marty, it's your turn.
Staff, what are the plans for New Year's Eve, lobster or steak? I'll start. I went to I went to Costco yesterday, and I got a pork loin. My wife and I stay in, and so I got a pork loin, and we'll cook it New Year's Eve, have dinner, and be in bed at 7:30.
I had a tenderloin yesterday I cooked with some mash, so I'm not sure. Maybe some fish would be good for New Year's Eve, which is tomorrow.
Who's cooking, you or Lori?
I'll probably end up cooking. She's still working, so I like my new job, housewife.
What do you mean she's still working?
I wear my apron, I cook
Where
and
is she
walk
working?
Diego.
Where's she working New Year's Eve?
In the doctor's office, they usually open on early. They'll take patients. Everybody's sick. There's a lot of
Like
people
1 o'clock in the
with
morning.
the
Come
flu
on now.
right now. Yeah.
They're not open after dark.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's probably. Let's see. It's tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday, so she'll probably have a short day tomorrow.
Okay.
But there are a lot of folks out there with cold.
Well, she's telling
and
she's there at
flu
10
and
o'clock. She's
COVID,
going
too.
out dancing someplace.
No.
So,
we're
Bobby,
not-
what are you having for New Year's?
I'll probably have, if I can get to it, JD's, most likely.
Oh, you're going to have
Yeah.
a long wait, baby.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's.
know, you get lucky now and then.
That making beef
I
Wellington.
might end up working too. Someone was looking for a DJ for a New Year's Eve event up in Tewksbury.
Oh, you get a gig.
So I mean, I don't want to work, but they reached out to me. I said, sure, if you really need to, this is what it's going to cost you, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. But I'm
And
not.
help myself, too.
Oh yeah, well, why not?
Good for you.
And let's remember the guys and gals that have to work New Year's Eve,
Oh yes.
just like Christmas Eve. Fire, police, ambulance, medical,
Bartenders.
bartenders. Oh, bartenders love it. It's funny how it's revolved over the years. We used to go out with a group on New Year's Eve to the Harris Pelham Inn. Joe Pine, Joe Matthews, myself, your brother Mike, I believe. And it was a group rest, and they had the best all-you-could-eat prime rib dinner, roast beef dinner, and then they served breakfast at 1, and they had a band. No one has bands anymore. You know, you talk to the people in the bands, that was their big night. No one
Yeah,
has,
going back in those days, $250, maybe $300 for a 5-piece band.
yeah,
Cheap.
Well,
Not nowadays.
no.
I was just looking, because I'm thinking of getting back into the DJing, and there's DJs out there charging $1,000 an hour for a wedding.
That's
A DJ.
crazy.
It $4,000 for a wedding. I'm like, whoa, geez, I might have to start doing weddings.
Yeah.
That's
Why not,
crazy
Bobby?
money.
No, but it's you get what you pay for a lot of times. A lot of times you do.
Well,
But-
what's the go? So if you do a gig tonight, or New Year's Eve, if you do a gig New Year's Eve, what's your fee?
Usually, the standard thing we used to do was double our fees, so it'd probably be like $200 an hour for me, because that keeps me happy. Most of my equipment's paid for, and I've been doing it long enough where I don't
Well,
have.
didn't Santa Claus just bring you new equipment?
Yes.
Okay.
That was my.
Apparently, the bill didn't come yet.
Yeah. It's gonna come. It's gonna be paid next month.
You know, when I laughed, excuse me, when I laughed and I said, thank God for cocaine. Well, if you were a bartender in the late 70s, early 80s, you would see people get totally intoxicated because there was no laws really around. They weren't tough enough. There was free pouring going on, giving people too much booze, and when people have too much booze, they get violent like you cannot imagine. And back in them days, shoot them 2 lines of cocaine and it's straightened right out.
Yeah.
It's just the joke that I made on it, which that drug has caused us a lot of damage, but not, excuse me, Cisco, not as much as alcohol. Alcohol still tops the charts with me.
I agree with you.
Hey, I just want to pause just for a second. This guy here, John Deputat, it's his birthday, so I just want to wish, he's a Tewksbury guy.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
He's a mover and shaker in Tewksbury. I would say he's right up there with
Happy birthday.
a lot of movers and shakers out there, so happy birthday. That's what him with his wife, Roberta.
So Bobby brought up alcohol. Did you see the stats? They're reporting that less folks are drinking, which is a good thing. No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I never had to wrestle someone that was under the influence of marijuana, but the alcohol, we've got into a lot of battles with folks under the influence, and it's pretty bad. Alcohol is a real bad drug.
That's why, though, that late night shift isn't as bad as it was years back, because they've closed so many different bar rooms. They opened up like a nonprofit church at Saber's Cafe, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And Heinz's Cafe, not Heinz's, but the one there in Gallagher Square.
Savoy.
Savoy, same thing, it's a church. And across the city, there's many bar rooms that turned into churches. And thank God, because the late nights doesn't have as much action as they did back when my dad owned the bar. You talk about in the 80s.
Well, Bobby, on the other hand, we got the marijuana people trying to have a sanctuary where you can go in and hire marijuana at your local marijuana station.
I can tell you, when I used to work at the arenas doing the security inside concerts and stuff, I used to love it when you started smelling the marijuana because there was really no fights. The alcohol, there was people drinking, and everyone's got a lot of courage once they have about 4 or 5 drinks in them.
Yeah.
But the marijuana, you'd sit there. My wife used to come home, you're late. Well, I'd have the munchies by the time I got home.
Yeah.
I had to stop for subs somewhere or McDonald's. But yeah, you're right. So I never thought of it when they were smoking marijuana. You could smell it, and they'd say to me, well, what are you going to do about it? Well, there's cops in here. They're on the detail, not me. I'm not going to get involved in that,
But
Did anybody not see this coming? State extends in conference center
I
shells
seen that this morning. Yeah.
through 2026.
Oh no,
They own it, so
it's a
what the heck?
payback. You got to pay. You got to take care of your friends that got you elected.
Who owns that building?
The state.
UMass.
UMass.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think the state owns it. They have the loan. They took a loan out on that, and I think the state can do basically whatever it wants. We had a counselor in here a couple of weeks ago talking about it. We were talking about the courthouse, and they can do what they want. They own it, so.
You know what I loved about Marty? Me and John don't like when I bring his name up, but
The crook?
when he was in charge of that place, right? Couldn't get a Bud Light. All you could get was like Coors Light. He had a beef with Budweiser somewhere and didn't want any Budweiser in his store, so I give him a lot of credit for that.
Oh,
But,
boy.
Yeah.
Bud was a big seller. But to your points with the bars in Lowell, how there's no more bars.
Well,
Even the
I
clubs
feel-
are all closed.
Yeah, but I think that comes with the society that we're in right now with the young folks. They don't socialize. They're at home with their phones,
Right,
and
yeah.
they have no need to be with other humans. Where we grew up, first of all, we didn't have the phones, so you had to go out if you wanted to socialize and see your friends or talk to people or meet a girl, whatever. You went out and you went to a club or you went to a party. There's no need for that. These guys are really isolated, which is scary. I think it's probably time to put those phones aside and get these kids out of the basement and make sure they go out and socialize with, because we're going to have problems.
There were neighborhood bars. Bobby and I grew up together, and you had Laurie's Lounge, you had the Savoy, Billy's Brookside, you had the Colonial, the Whipple, Finnegan's, and you walked. Those people walked to those places.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going to the Golden Gloves. We'd walk down to Johnny's Cafe, and then you'd walk over to the Gloves, or you'd go into the Colonial and then walk down Fayette Street to the Gloves. And but they were all neighborhood bars, and you knew everybody. And
If you wanted to get your head kicked in, you stopped it at Laurie Lounge.
it
Most
opened your
violent
mouth.
bar in Lowell at the time. And I had to run it 7 years at nighttime. Craziness.
It was, but if you didn't go in and open your mouth, you were fine. It was-
Yeah, you couldn't come in from Borica or you poor. You'd go out in a stretcher.
yeah,
It wasn't fun.
no.
Where was that located?
It was 933 Gorham, right across from the Portuguese Bakery on Gorham Street.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah.
It's a barber shop now, I believe. I
Oh,
don't know
really?
what it
Wow,
is.
that's crazy.
But no, I'm just glad my family's out of that business.
It was
But if you
tough.
looked at the Whipple, they had great food. Great food.
Oh,
I
the
mean,
whip of the silver.
Sabres, maybe the best food around. And the treatment
Yeah.
you got. Place called Johnny Gallagher's. Those places. Omer's Cafe. I love this city. That's all I could tell you.
It was great, and
Yeah.
there were neighborhood bars. You socialized. You'd go over to Central. You'd go in the Wonder Bar. Jimmy Caston, I think, owned it, and you knew everybody. And I never saw problems in any. Well, once.
Now,
or
the
twice.
Wonder Bar. Why did they name it the Wonder Bar?
I don't know.
It was Tavern at the Bridge or something at the end, but it was called the Wonder Bar when I was. And then there was Jake's that blew up, but that was before my time.
My
then the
Wonder
Honky
Bar.
Tonk.
My Wonder Bar would have been McCullough's.
Down.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
And Pachico's, what was it? Picanzo's across the
Picanzo's,
street.
Butchie Picanzo, yeah.
And you got to remember, these places, Maycom was there. There were 3 shifts going down at Joan Fabrics, Maycom, and so people were coming out at midnight, and they would run down to get their last. I was on the city council, and they wanted to change. We had a meeting, and
Last call.
the committee was there, and last call, and the towns had like midnight, and they would come into Lowell, and I'm sitting there, and I have some of the bar owners and Lowell police officers behind me, and well, we're going to close at midnight, and it was the Lowell police I was sitting behind me. He said, listen, last call, 1:15. They don't have to be out till 2. There's nothing worse than buying a round of drinks, especially in some of the clubs. If you're with women and girls, you just spend $40, and now it's 1:15. You got to go. Let them have their drink. Watch the end of the game, but scatter the leaving time from 1:15 to 1:45. And I think I made the motion, and it was from the police sitting behind me, and they said, you don't want everyone leaving at once anyway. Let them have their drink, 1 o'clock, nothing after 1 or 1:15, but let them sit, finish. And a lot of these guys are just getting out of work. They get out at 12:30, so.
The guys that went sober, that's what I look at. I go, wow. I remember when they used to drink, and so many people have passed away. Oh, my God. Out of my dad's bar, we lost a lot of people. And I'm talking, we don't mean to do it, but we were free pouring.
You what?
We're
Free-
giving like 3 to 4 ounces of booze in every drink. Now they measure drinks and they have all these things, but I come from the days that we free poured. And whoever gave the most booze had the most customers.
Most tips, too.
Yeah, you did well there.
I think the first club I ever saw was up on 101 in Nashua. I think they finally called it the Breeze, but it was right off the highway. It was a club. It was really nice. And they were the first ones with the measured drinks. They were, other than that, like Bobby says, you just see them pour.
Yeah, well, my daughter-in-law had a sister that was assassinated coming out of a club in Nashua 2 years ago.
Really?
The guy got life. Yeah, he got life, but he put 1 in her head and two in her stomach and killed her partner also. That's in Nashua, by the way, folks. That's not in Massachusetts. So they have their issues up there, too. But, Marty, I wanted to ask you a question. I got a feeling because I don't talk to Eric Gitchia that much anymore. I talk to him at least 6-7 times a month. And I try to get information off him, but he's hard to get information off. But I said, what's that big issue that people don't even want to talk about? And I think it's something to do with water, storage, underground piping. the price of that stuff's gonna cost us a whole lot of money. I didn't know if you had any
Yeah,
knowledge.
The infrastructure in the city is really old. You see the streets collapsing, and that eventually has to be changed. Now, how many miles the city of Lowell has that old piping, I don't know. But the infrastructure changes in the city are gonna be enormous down the line. And, you try to do a little bit. They're doing that with the sewer now over in Centerville, and, no, he's right. And that's Eric's field anyway.
Yeah, but it's an issue I don't think I've heard much about.
Good, they're
I
keeping
haven't
it
heard
quiet. That would come out with all these development, the gentrification of the city, is going to end if they realize that down the road, all these new structures are going to collapse the sewer and the water system in this city. It's coming.
If you go out to Highland Street here and cut the street open and look how old those pipes are, this is an older part of the city, back central. It's as they go and the change, it's going to be a lot of money. Yeah. You go up to Pelham and Hudson, places where they have wells and septics. They don't need that infrastructure. Here, yeah.
And it's not just Lowell, it's the surrounding towns.
Everywhere.
They send a lot of their sewage, but some of their sewage ends up here in Lowell, you know what I mean? We supply some of the surrounding towns with water. So if we're, developing and the other communities are developing, are we going to be able to sustain that new development? That'd be my concern.
Cisco, these are yours.
Does the state own the college that owns the hotel? Too bad Lefty's closed. Where's Lefty's?
Lefty's was on Roger Street. I would believe now it's a roast beef place area right there.
Great stop.
During the pandemic, all alcohol stores were open, but pot shops were closed. Yeah. And all the bars in Lowell are being turned into housing with no parking. That's true. Kids don't purchase alcohol because who would pay $15 for a beer? Yeah, it's expensive. And most adult women are the ones going to the clubs lately. Yeah, they're looking for men that work, that have jobs. I do love the change in the use of alcohol. That's nice, but I really think it's concerning because it's like, okay, where are they socializing? You know what I mean? I don't know.
I think you're right, on the couch with the phones and the video games. My daughter's in her 30s, and she meets up with a bunch of people, and she's in some tournament now with video games, and there's a bunch of them that are involved in it, but yeah, it's not like it used to be. And you talk about the old bars. Remember they used to have a ladies' entrance? Ladies' entrance.
Yeah, no.
This one
coverage.
sticks in my craw. When you steal money that's allocated for maintenance, the pipe and kick it down the road, you end up with failing pipes and collapsed roads. Well, the city manager and his team should be chastised for writing a budget no one can process or understand. We have city councilors that will say, "Oh, I understand the budget. Okay, explain it to me." "Oh, you have to watch the meeting." No, explain the budget to me. You don't know what you're talking about. How many people on the city council actually understand that city budget? I don't.
A couple.
But
Oh, really? Which two, Bob?
I would say Eric Gitch is one that knows a lot about budgets.
Okay, who else?
Maybe, I don't know, maybe Rita Mercier. I'm not sure, but there's going to be a couple.
Belinda's is supposedly going to.
Well, then maybe we should have Belinda and Eric lead us through the budget next July.
I'm looking forward to that. I
Because they'll just
really do.
pass it.
If you remember, and I bet you Marty will remember this, just a few years back, Eric put a motion during the budget hearing to eliminate a line item that was his pay for being on the city council.
Right.
He couldn't even get a second. I mean, think about that alone. That bothered me for ages. how someone can't get a second. I don't care if you're enemies with me, I'm giving you a second.
Well, how often do you think Corey Robinson's going to ask for, how's my motion doing to get all the city councilors paid? How's my motion doing, Mr. Manager? Where'd it go this week?
You're talking to a guy that kind of likes the city council the past few years. I think they did okay.
Eric put that motion in, and what was interesting, he didn't get a second, and it wouldn't pass. I think that would have to come out of the mayor's budget. So whoever the mayor was, and the council doesn't want to cut its own budget. They can leave that, whatever it was, 15,000 in there, and use it down the line. And when you look at the municipal budgets over the years, when I get on, you could go down and meet with Tom Moses, who was great. He was great with budgets, and he could at least walk you through the elementary to understand it. Now, your budget's going to come out this year, probably in May, but right around March or April, the city councilors will start getting a list, or they should, from the auditors. And what it will say is the police, $1,000. Okay, so they got $1,000 for the year. Up and through February, they spent $200. Now, from February to April, they've spent $600. Why? Why is that money pouring
Christmas
out?
in April.
But they're trying to save their budget. And that was one of the things I learned. And the other thing is, you don't want to cut the budget too much, because during the course of the year, you might be taking money out of one department and the other. The police department, I think they had an $800,000 or $900,000 overtime budget when I was on. And the reason to what Francisco was saying, there's vacations. Now they have to cover nights, so they have to cover investigations. If you have a lot of investigations going on in the city, that's expensive. So, you look at the overtime budget there. Now, the fire department was interesting. I don't know how much they gave them this year, but did they move it but I thought I read in November or early December that their budget's running down. Well, that's a public safety department. You have to fund it. And it would be interesting to see what the administration does, or what the council does going forward with the fire department. Again, overtime, sickness, it's expensive.
Go ahead.
I would love to see quarterly reviews in front of the manager by the city council on the budget. Every quarter, look at it and look at where we're at, and see if we're meeting our goals for cutting back. John mentioned earlier, government's very expensive, and there's going to be less money coming in. You really got to think of cutting back and holding on. The problem is, managers can't be held accountable in Massachusetts. There's all these restrictions on how much money can be paid out from a government suit. I think that needs to be looked at too.
When I was on, one of the guys I learned quite a bit from was Councilor Joe Maldonado. Joe was great, but Joe was very quiet, didn't get into the political fights. He'd raise his hands very quietly, and he kept a close eye on the budget, and especially enterprise funds, parking, wastewater. Joe was on top of that all the time.
Smart
And
guy,
he was very smart, Joe, probably the best I saw. But he didn't get a lot of attention, a lot of media attention. But to your point, Joe would bring this up during the meetings. He'd be looking at the budget. Well, this one, do we have enough sufficient, and can we move money here? And he was very good. Mendonça was real good.
Okay, Bobby, you got these.
Remember when Nancy Pelosi said you have to pass it to see what's in the bill? Government thinking. It will cost over $1 billion to comply with the regulations that they ignored for many years by the city. That sounds like an Eric question. The city council should be asking how to cut the budget, not increase the budget. Getting back to what Marty
I got
was...
two more, Bobby.
Okay. LOL. All the city councilors clapped when they extended the manager's contract, so it's the good old boys club again.
And then Eric sent us the, the budget. I can click it, we can go and study and try to process the budget. Anybody interested in trying to process the budget?
Let's do it next
Not
Tuesday.
really.
The problem, if you look at the city budget, the first 50 pages
Thanks, Eric.
is writing. Oh,
Yeah.
look at this is great. This is the best. Oh, we got an award for how this budget's presented. It's not till you get down to the line items.
Yeah.
Now, my first year on the council was 3 nights. The budget was a 3-night meeting, and we went item by item by item. The second year, I think we did too, but it was only one night or one afternoon, and you broke it down. But over the years, and again, and see how you guys feel about this, it's not so much about the budget, it's who the city manager is.
I agree.
He comes out with the budget. Oh, this is great. Oh, I make a motion, we approve it. And it's, everyone's, this is, it's bare bones. They said bare bones a couple of years ago, and what you get, $21 million back in free cash?
Yeah, that was another thing, Eric, get you wanted to go line item for line item.
Yeah.
Got rejected.
Well,
Yeah.
frankly, I don't
Reject
think
it.
our city manager can process the budget. I'll put that out there.
You
I
have
don't
the
think the
best.
city manager can understand our budget.
You have the best budget guy in the state right now with Connor Baldwin.
Yeah,
Connor
no, I
Baldwin,
agree.
yep.
Connor does a great
he
job.
is fantastic. If they lost him, I thought they were going to lose him. A couple of years ago, I thought he was gone. But they made it worth his while to stay. But when you look at the budget, skip all this writing and the graphs and go down to like you do with the funeral home or you do with your checkbook. Look at each item. And Joe Mendonça, like I said, was just fabulous at this on the city council.
So-
You know, the voters in Lowell usually will, whatever board you're on, going for city council or the schools, they'll always seem to throw someone that knows a lot about budgets. Like we had Bill Topia at the time. Knew a lot about budgets, kept us all kind of together. And over the years, we had the one that my grandmother told me, you got to vote for Dick Howe.
Yeah.
Go out and vote for Dick Howe. I think that's what every grandmother was saying back in the day, that he was the guy watching our dollars.
Marty, I'll have you read this question because it's for you.
What was the budget then? I think it was
When Marty was on the city council,
350 to 400 million. I mean, I'm going back a little bit, but I think it might have been somewhere around just 375, 400 million. This year it's looking at 650.
Yeah, like almost 3/4 of
And half of it schools.
billion.
Yeah.
Almost half is
But,
schools.
going back to budgeting, I was on the board at Nabnasset Country Club, and it's time consuming, but if you go in there, you also have to have good managers that you can trust that will come back with some honest information in regards to their departments, and they're not trying to hide things on you, because the fact that when you look at a budget and you're projecting costs into the new year, you have to look at what your manager needs to run that department, and you really have to, trust them that they're coming back and saying, look, like, for example, Nabnasset, our expenses went up in fertilizer, and we had to get, information from the grounds group that was reliable on estimating what it was truly going to cost, so that you can project those numbers and then come back with a budget. And then you have to look at other line items and say, all right, are we going to be able to cut back on painting that year so that we can move money over here for this
Right.
cost? And it's a toss-up between, do you ask the taxpayer or your membership for more money, or do you cut back some of the services? It's
Bobby,
a
you wanna read
balancing
these?
act.
Yeah, Bob, what time is the polar plunge on Thursday? Number one, I believe it runs at noon, but the question I'm having right now is I don't think it's this Thursday. I think it's the 31st of January, but I'll bring it back to John so John can advertise that. Government should be performance-based salaries.
well, that's why Tommy Golden got an extension. Performance-based.
Yeah, well, I agree with it a little bit, because I think those days are giving someone 4, 4, and 4, like a 3-year contract. I think those are going out the window pretty soon. You're not
I
gonna have them.
think it should be performance-based, because
Yeah.
the gal who would go in her office every day, working for the Lowell School Department, would close her door and take her phone off the hook for the whole day. Play on her phone or her iPad all day using the city's internet, and at 3:30, she'd put the phone back in its cradle and walk out the door. She did that every day for years.
There has to be
Making over
accountability with their jobs,
150
too.
grand a year.
There has to be accountability. You can't make a bad management position and walk away
She was
and still have
untouchable.
your pension.
Well-connected, untouchable.
Yeah, well, that's an issue. It has to change in
After the
government.
show, if you want to know, I'll tell you who it is, but
Yeah.
that's the
Well,
story
the
on
thing
her.
is, you don't make a mistake either, so they're not gonna come after you.
Yeah.
There's two things that you don't want in government if you're a government employee. One is responsibility, because now you can be held accountable.
Yeah.
And two is a spot with your name on it in the parking lot, because they know when you're not there. Those are the two things you gotta avoid as a public employee. But, no, it's, like I said, when I was on the council, I was very lucky. I served with Joe Mendonça, who was very quiet, but very efficient. And, he helped me a lot, understanding the ballot, the budgets and things like that, so.
Well, I'm looking forward to this coming year with the new council. What a great mix of young and old and new folks in there with new ideas. So, but it's going to be a tough year. It really is going to be tough because the money is drying up. You're not going to see a lot of revenue on all this development for another probably 5-10 years before it starts bringing in money.
How many people are left on the budget from the ARPA days? You know, because that money's dried up. So now, do you have people still on the payroll with ARPA money? All these projects, I think the city did a good job, and I do think the manager did a good job in picking out, especially the parks and things like that, where to put the ARPA money. The city was very lucky to get that, as most cities and towns were. But down the line, when you look at the cost of salaries and retirements is a killer on municipal budgets. You gotta pay for it, so.
Yeah, when you mentioned parks, I'd love to see the bill on Washington Park. I call it Washington Park.
Yeah.
Clemente Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you seen that?
They've done them all over.
Oh,
That
it's
was
not
ARPA
done,
money.
but it's looking good. Yeah.
No, I think they're putting a splash pad over on Aiken Ave, the old St. Louis. But that was all ARPA money, and it was great. It really infused a lot of money into the city. So we'll see what happens in next year's budget. I don't know how close this council is, if it's going to be split, and it's
pretty.
interesting.
It was pretty well split before,
Yeah.
but leaned heavily toward the mayor and
The manager.
Manager.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the other thing with the mayor, he gets to pick the subcommittees. So, we're talking about the budget. Who's on the finance subcommittee? Who's on the audit subcommittee? And things like that. That's going to play a large role. If Danny doesn't become mayor again, I think they should have a subcommittee for the front runner city and appoint Danny to it, to head it. This has been his thing right along. But
You haven't seen articles in the front page of the Lowell Sun about the front runner city now that everyone's been elected or re-elected. Where are we with the front runner city for news? Anything that you've heard?
no, I'm skeptical on a lot of these things, and people say to me, I'm not negative. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I was here when Wang came along. Bobby mentioned Wang. We were talking about Wang. All these people came into the city, the housing prices went up, all these big jobs at Wang, and they're making a lot of money. Next thing I know, they're all taking a post office test, a police test, a firefighter's test, they're all out.
Oh,
So I've seen Lowell Courier Citizen, Joan Fabrics. How many people from Columbia came up for Joan Fabrics? They had the same machines, working 3 shifts, all of a sudden, boom, everyone's gone.
Yeah.
So,
The other thing is, like all this market rate housing that's being developed, if you look at the sizes, they're like 1 and 2 bedrooms. They're not developing any housing for families, which is, I mean, there's less people interested in the school system. So, I mean, I don't know.
It has a lot to do with it, no doubt.
It does have a lot to do with it, yeah.
But again, if you go to Lowell High School, for instance, I think elementary-wise in Lowell, we're doing pretty good when you don't have to pay for it. If I had the money, would I want to have my child at Lowell Catholic, let's say? Of course. But our elementary system is pretty good. There's a lot of good teachers. It hits middle school, there's where your problems come in. The kids are doing a lot of things that we don't want them doing, okay? But then high school, if you go down there and you're a smart kid, you can get into, let's say, AP courses or high honors, for instance. Not Latin Lyceum. My granddaughter did that. You get burnt by doing the Latin Lyceum. And I hate to talk against that because it was Builtopia's baby. I would never vote to get rid of it, but we need some tweaks there because the kids don't get enough credit for how hard they're working. But you leave Lowell High School high honors, let me tell you something right now. We have children going to some of the best colleges in the world. My family, we had a couple go to the Eisenberg School of Business in Amherst. I'm hearing it's a tremendous school, and they're making big money. My little cousins making big money. But Lowell High School, if you go in, if you got a brain, you can come out with a lot of money. I had someone in my family come out with just a measly $8,500. Yeah.
Well,
That's what Lowell brings.
Lowell High School is going to be an issue down the road. I could see.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have a fight between the folks that are moving into these 1 and 2 bedrooms, which are all down there, the Link project. There's going to be an issue. Watch, you're going to see that. It's fine now, but I think if we really develop downtown the way they're talking about developing that high school and the kids, it's going to go back to, we don't want the kids down here, and we want them out. So we'll see. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I hope it works. But when I'm looking at the plans for the development and it says 1 or 2 bedrooms, to me it says they really aren't planning for families downtown, and that could be an issue.
To Bobby's point, it can be Lowell, especially when we have the tenements and the 2 families, 2, 3 bedrooms. If you bring in a 3 or 4 developments downtown with 2, 3 bedrooms, now you probably brought in 200 kids. There's an elementary school. That many kids have to go to an elementary school. So at what point does the city look and say, listen, we don't have any more room in these schools, we got to start building, and the high school, we're going to have to build on to the high school. That has a lot. The towns were hit with that, with the condo crazes. They had these 2, 3 bedroom townhouses,
Yeah.
and all these towns, this is great, we're getting the revenue from the condos, and all of a sudden, boom, now you've got 500, 600, 700 more kids in the city or the town. Now they've got to pay for the education. So there's that
Goes back
back
to
and forth.
back to where we're at in the city. I mean, we have to start thinking about infrastructure. I mean, look, the police department doesn't have a real strong building. The other is the fire department. All those infrastructures right now need help. And if you look at the surrounding towns, they all have new police departments and new fire stations, and Lowell hasn't done anything. When's that going to come up, in the budget?
That's a Lower Trahan issue.
Let me ask you
Lower
this,
Trahan has to bestow a new police station to us.
Cisco, the new courthouse over here, right? Their lockup, would that be sufficient for a police department?
I mean, they had an opportunity to work with them at one point. I don't think that's going to happen now.
No, I'm just saying, would it be something that the police department could use? It's not going to go back to that, of course, but
No, they could.
the lockup.
Yeah,
I'm
they
only
could
talking
probably.
about the lockup.
But I think the state isn't going to take over the duties of a local police department and housing people, the liability.
Yeah,
I put
Well, I'll tell you,
that
the two
motion
big
in on
things-
the high school, when I was on the council. Could the city use that building to put the new police, because it's there, the state shot it down right away.
The two big things happening in this neighborhood are what's gonna happen to the courthouse, because they're gonna put it up for auction, and it'll be like the Smith Baker Center. Nobody can afford to fix it up. And page two, a biggie, they're gonna put a rotary at the end of the connector. The state wants to do that. It's back on the front burner. So those are the two big issues coming up, but city council's gotta get in there first. Marty, you wanna read these?
How about the bill to the city for the cleanup up for the homeless people? The environmentalist cleanup, when I put the motion in to clean up along the river, UMass Lowell, I think, paid $185,000 on their land, and MassDOT, a little farther down, paid about $50,000, $250,000, and that was in 2013 or 2014. The front runner city is a gift being purported on the city's citizens of Lowell. How much has been spent on it already? The city appropriated, I think, $750,000 last February. I think Eric Gitchia put a motion in to get the expenses.
I think 650's gone already.
Yeah, okay. I thought Eric had put something in. The next overage when it comes to the schools will be the Jeanne d'Arc School in Pawtuckaville. I think what the city is doing, they gotta put an elevator in there. I think that's gonna be a school that they can actually rent out to some
They're
of the
gonna make
towns
money,
for
yeah.
students. What is it, Bobby?
What they're gonna do is bring children like that go to the Lighthouse School in Chelmsford, for instance.
Special needs kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, some of the people were spending $350,000 on to send them to different cities.
Then you're gonna need two elevators.
Yeah.
You have to
So-
have, because when one's broken, how are you gonna get the kids out of the
I
school?
I think Eric was the top guy about buying that school, but I think it's a great move, to be honest
Cisco,
with
can
you.
you get to the bottom one here?
Oh, a question for Cisco. Ever get a hole in one? Yes, I have two of them. I got one out when I was stationed at Edwards Air Force Base. There's a par 3, like 201 yards. I think I hit a 3 wood, and it rolled up. It was elevated, so I never got to see it. The second one was during a tournament at Four Oaks on the backside. I think it's hole 13 with a 7-iron, and that one was witnessed by the UPS driver who was jumping up and down. And I made some money because it was during a tournament, so I got like $1,500 worth of merchandise from one of the distributors.
They used to have cars and everything else.
Yeah,
for holes in one.
I wanted a car, man. But those were easy par 3s. When they offer a car, they usually pick a hole that they have the advantage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need that luck. But it's a great game. I mean, I can't wait to Mount Pleasant opens up. And looking forward to that. And hopefully we had a great season this year. Next year we'll have a better season. And honestly, we're so lucky to have Mount Pleasant in the city. What a great green space. And the superintendent this year did a great job. Looking forward what he does next year.
Long Meadow, the same. It gives, the memberships were, I don't know what they are now, they were reasonable.
Yes.
They were affordable. I gave up golf, too stressful. I went to motorcycles. Less expensive, too.
I gave up skiing because I didn't want to break any bones. I couldn't afford not to go to work.
A bunch of us went down to Myrtle Beach years ago, and we're playing, I think, 5 different courses. And there were tourists, and they linked us up with a kid about 15 from Georgia. He was with his mother and father, and this kid was about a 2 handicap. The kid was telling me all they did was hit balls, different clubs, every day for an hour. They didn't play much, but he was only like a 2 or 3 handicap, and this kid was tearing up the course. And I said to the father, geez, he's only like 13, 14. Oh, we're hoping he gets a scholarship, and who knows after that, maybe he can go on the tour. And I said, yeah, maybe you could put the bathroom in the house. Well, geez, that didn't go over big. They were from Georgia.
Well, Georgia eats and sleeps golf, you know.
Oh, boy.
For those folks that are thinking about walking the dog today, it is 20 degrees outside.
It's really,
And the wind is whipping big time.
I'm thinking it could be the coldest day of the year so far.
So,
It's really cold.
It is cold.
plan your dog walk because it's going to be a wicked, biting cold walk.
There's gonna be a bunch of flags taken to City Hall
know-
and put in the box.
Marty, I did sit on shows Thursday with Sam Chase.
Yeah.
And I must have heard him say it 100 times. You get a good bang for your buck living in Lowell, Texas.
Yeah.
Wise.
Sam's a great guy and he's smart. Sam's been around a long time, and we complain about the taxes here in the city, but when you look at the water, the sewage, the plowing, this and that, the schools, the state pays for 70% of the Lowell schools. It is a good bang for the buck. People in Chelmsford, Tewksbury, Drake have always said that, and I think when you look at the median income of Lowell, it's a lot less than Chelmsford, so it's proportionate. We pay less taxes, but we don't make as much money as many of the people in Chelmsford and Tingsboro, so
And
the houses aren't as big. And
Chelmsford schools are just incredible, really. That's what draws people to Chelmsford.
Jay
And
Lang,
Tewksbury.
Jay Lane.
yeah,
He's
great
Tewksbury.
guy.
Football attracts people to Tewksbury. They're tremendous, the size of that town.
I was
Oh
on
my
the city
God,
council
they
my second year, and the first year we put a big parks program together. And the next year I met with Tommy Bellegarde, Bernie Lynch, Jane Franco, and I just said his name. He's over, Jay Lang. And we're right across the street here, and we were expanding the park program, and I said to the school department, when the kids get out of summer school at 12:30, can we sign them in? Oh, yeah, we can. We started rolling in. And then Gene Franco and Jay said to me, well, what about the breakfast and lunch programs? And I said, what are you talking about? The Lowell School Committee, actually, the school department, paid for breakfast, snacks, and lunches for the kids in the park program, and CTI get involved. So if you signed your child into the park program in the city, they get free lunch, free breakfast, snacks, and that was due to the Lowell Public Schools and CTI.
I was on the Lowell Public Schools when the Rogers School behind me here, we were passing out and Joe Boyd was the superintendent, I believe, at the time, over 1 million free meals we passed out.
Yeah.
Lowell did.
I
And
think-
you've seen license plates from New Hampshire all over the place, coming in and drive up the back of the Rogers School, grab their food, and off they would go.
Jerry Nutter, I think, was the one who really pushed for the food program at the city, and they found the money. Yeah, I was a mailman, and I used to hear that people picking up the kids at the bus stop had New Hampshire plates, this and that. Well, as a mailman, you get to know everyone in the neighborhood, and a lot of times what I saw with New Hampshire plates were grandparents, older aunts or brothers and
Yeah,
sisters.
picking up their
them
kids.
up, yeah. So I was always careful about the plates, but it's out there.
Oh, by the way, Greater Lowell Technical High School, I hope Eric hears this, Lowell High beaches at wrestling this time. Lowell High won. Yeah, just recently.
And congratulations, Freddie Bahu, next time he's in, or Lee Getchia, the governor. Right now, to get into the regional schools, the technical schools, it's all competitive exams, attendance. Next year, it's a lottery. The governor has made it a lottery system now to get into the technical schools. So you can skip school right through the 8th grade, not go to school,
That
not
could
do your
affect them.
homework, and you get as good a chance as anyone.
Everybody gets a trophy. Cisco, your turn.
Don't forget about how more expensive it is to golf. Yes, it is very
Yeah.
expensive. Great show today. I hope Mr. Bomil gets well. Me too. Happy New Year's to the panel. Does the panel think the incoming Lowell City Council will get the cost of Lowell government down? I am looking forward to them challenging the city manager with the budget. I really hope that they do what they said they were going to do, and I'm going to hold them accountable. If they don't question the budget for this coming on fiscal year would be 2027, and they'll be talking about that, in May they start talking about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
Marty,
budget.
what are your thoughts?
No, they won't do anything.
Okay,
Well, 21 million last year in free cash, And one of the problems is you got the state of Massachusetts telling you that's even great. You should have about a certain percentage of your budget coming back in free cash. With Lowell's budget, it's over $20 million.
How about the kickback from the school? Is the school committee going to
Bobby,
put
you
the
got an
pressure?
opinion on bringing the cost down?
They're gonna have to make some cuts, I believe. I don't know how many cuts you can do, but I believe anybody that was hired with that ARPA money, they all gotta go. There'll be a lot of people losing their jobs, I believe.
See, I'm just gonna chime in on this. All the city council has to do is to say, every person who retires, their job has gotta come to a board to decide, do we really need this position?
Makes sense.
Because right now, you have a highfalutin, the guy in charge of all the brooms for the city of Lowell. He's retiring, he's making $175 a year. They're lined up from here to City Hall for that job.
You
All
know,
calling Tommy Bomil, calling all the city councilors, I want that job.
there's no doubt Lowell has a pretty good guy with the budget, Connor Baldwin. But again, he works for the city manager, correct?
Yes.
Directly for the city
Well, the city manager tells him, here's my shopping cart, find the money to pay for all
There you
this
go.
stuff.
One of the things,
That's
to
been like
John's
that
point,
forever.
you'll find in the budget is, say they have 230 police officers, so they're gonna budget to 230. Well, how many police officers will retire or leave next year? And do they ever withdraw that money from the police budget? No, so, we used to put it into overtime because you have to, it's replacement cost. But that was always the question. If you're replacing the officers or the employees with overtime, well, what's going on with that money in the regular budget? And that's something.
Well, what's gonna happen on that, Marty, is every month, every quarter, your department has to justify to keep that balance in their budget. If you can't justify keeping that balance, you lose, that money goes back in the till.
We'll see what
You
happens.
gotta come back and beg for it if you need it.
Right. We used to put, like I said, the city for years put it in overtime money, so if the officers left and you had to replace them, the overtime money was there. But I always wondered what happened to the rest of the money if he retires in September, that's 6 months' worth of salary. So, can you put it in the overtime account?
You move it into salaries, you know what I mean, that are not properly budgeted, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And it shows up as a salary line item.
I think a lot of times with the price of gas going through the roof, they could take that money and put it into gas and things like that. The police and fire do have to pay for that, the gas, and that's all part of their budget. But watch that fire department budget. I hope they can do something to keep the firehouses open and expand the fire department budget. We'll see what happens.
I think there was a lot of talk on this show, especially from John. Eric gets here again for the firemen, new equipment, new trucks.
Yeah.
I've been listening to John for a few years over that. I think this city council has done pretty good so far with that issue.
They get a lot of grant money, and at one time, I don't know if fire departments got the grant money that the police did, and all of a sudden, someone woke up one day and said, hey, they're public safety too, at the federal level and state level where the grant money comes from. So, yeah, some hard work by the city to get that
We're
money.
about to say goodbye.
Okay. Thank you for joining us today, and
We'll see you on, January 5th.
Have a good New Year's, and be careful out there today. A lot of ice.
Good day.
Thank you for joining us.
Yep.